Hey, it's Devin Barrett. I'm coming here with a Universal 11 deck tech for set 9. The deck feels very strong to me. A lot of the cards have floating effects, and it has ways around a lot of general keywords and victory strike as well through the leader. The leader itself is Jiren. He is a yellow leader. He has on attack. You can choose a card in your life and then do one of two things. You can draw a card and he'll get 5,000 power, or you can play a 2-drop or less Universal 11 from your hand. And then he awakens at 4 life with an untap one, draw one. And on the backside, when he attacks, you draw a card and he gets 5,000 power. And he also has an activate battle, which is you choose a card in your life, add it to your hand. As long as you have a Universal 11 card in play, you cannot take damage from attacks from your opponent until the start of your next turn. So as long as you got guys out, you take a life and you're going to live through the turn no matter what. So if you awaken at 4 life, that's 3 turns where your opponent can't kill you. The best card in the deck by far is Energy Played Carceral. Bad pronunciation on my part. He's a 2-drop 9k Pride Trooper for Universal 11. That when you play him and when he's removed from the battle area by a skill, you search your deck for a 1-drop Universal 11 and play it with its skills negated for the turn. So in the deck, we're playing a decent amount of the new Universal 11 1-drops. We're playing 4 of Kunchi Threaded Energy, who's a 1-drop for Universal 11 that has a permanent effect where all of your Universal 11 of cost 2 or less have barrier. Then in my deck, I'm playing 2 Vuan Dynamite Blaster, who is a 1-drop 5k blocker, but with Kunchi out, he also is a barrier blocker, so he's really good to save you. And then you play Margarita, Adorable Assailant, who has 2 effects. One is when you play her, if your leader's yellow, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards and negate that card's skills for the duration of the turn. The second effect is when she's removed from the battle area by a skill, you choose one card in your opponent's hand and discard it if you have a green energy. So the deck is yellow-green. The deck also plays a new 1-drop Topo, Gaze of Justice, who has an on-play and on-death effect by a skill of your opponent chooses a card in their hand and discards it. And if you do this, you cannot activate the skills of Topo, Gaze of Justice for the rest of the turn. And then in the more 2-drops you can play with the leader, I'm playing 3 Topo, Bestower of Justice, who's a 2-drop barrier 16k that has a permanent where his energy cost is increased by 2 as long as he's in play. So he keys into the Successor theme of Universal 11. And then I'm also trying out 2 of the new uncommon Jiren, Righteous Leader, who has Deflect, and when you play him, you can play 2 2-drop Universal 11s or less, ignoring barrier, or not ignoring barrier, negating their skills for the turn, excuse me. And so that's why in a deck I'm running 3 Infinite Alertness Despo, who's a 20k blocker for 4 that restands at the end of your turn. But if you have 4 Universal 11 in your drop barrier or more, he's a 2-drop in hand, so Jiren can play him off of that. Then I'm running 2 Bellmans in the deck as a way to pop your own cards for their floating effects, because he's a 20k blocker. When you play him, you KO a card, and you can activate main KO 3 of your battle cards to play him. And then since we're green-yellow, we're running 4 of the new Analyza Checkland. We're really never going to play him. He's just in there to negate his energy exhaust. Then in the deck, I'm running 4 Despo, Unprecedented Speed, who's a 15k barrier for 4, but he has Successor for 1 yellow. Successor is the new keyword for Universal 11 and Cell and the green-yellow themes in set 9. It is you pay the energy cost for a Successor, and you KO any number of your battle cards that are green, yellow, or green and yellow, equal to the card's energy cost. So for Dipso, I need to KO a total of 4 costs between green, yellow, and green or yellow cards. And Dispo has whenever you play him with Successor or when he's removed from the battle area by a skill, either yours or your opponent's, you draw 1 card. And in the deck, I'm running 1 Cell, Devourer of the Masses. He's a 6-drop with Successor for a green and a yellow. When you play this card with Successor, you pop one of your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier. And he has an auto of when your opponent removes him with a skill, you draw 3 cards. Then I'm running 2 of the topo, Morality Suppressed, who's another 6-drop successor for green and the yellow. He's a 25k with barrier, and his auto is when you play him or when he's removed from the battle area by a skill, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier, then you negate that card's skills and pop it. So he gets around everything in the game right now. He gets through indestructible, which is one of the big things. And then the finisher for the deck is Jiren Strength and Silence. He's a 10-drop quadruple strike. He successors for 2 green, 2 yellow, and 1 colorless. And he has an auto of when you play him, you choose 3 Universal 11 in your hand or in your battle area and put them in the drop area. And when you do, Jiren Strength and Silence cannot be affected by your opponent's skills until the start of your next turn. So your opponent cannot negate him, cannot neg his power. You're just going in for 40k quad strike. Your opponent's got to out combo him or eat 4 to the face. And then since the leader's yellow, we're running 4 time magic. And then there's a tech card I'm trying out in the deck that I think is really good, and a best of 3 depending on what you're facing. The new Hellfighter 17, the neutralizer, is a counterplay. He costs 3 energy, but he counterplays for 2 if you play him on your opponent's turn. And when you play him, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards and negate the skills for the duration of the turn. So he's really good against the new red-blue Frieza 5-drop because that card just destroys your board. And this is a way to get around it for a turn, so then you can react to it on your turn. And in the deck, since we're a Universe 11, we're playing 4 of the Universe 11 super combo. It's a 0-0 combo. If you're at 5 life or less in your leader's Universe 11, you draw a card and it gets 10k combo power. You can play it off of your leader effect and use it to Successor if you really need to. Same with off of the 3-drop Jiren. But it's also active at 5 life, which is good against aggro decks because a lot of times they'll try to put you to 5 and then punch you past 5, so you can't have 3 turns of safety. I personally think this deck is going to be really good in the next format, and I hope it has a strong showing in Vegas, and I may or may not be playing this deck there.